It wasn't just a car accident. The brakes had been cut. President Ibrahim Traoré survived, but barely. In the hospital, a nurse handed him an unmarked envelope. Inside, a photo. 3 generals, a foreign handshake, a date, and one red line of text. You were never meant to survive tonight. That night, a shadow stepped through a side door. Old uniform. Slow limp. General Wemba, Traoré said. I thought you retired. I did, but not by choice. He placed a flash drive on the desk. Watch this. Then decide who you can still trust. Traoré's fingers trembled as the screen lit up. A hidden camera, 3 senior officers, 1 foreign advisor. He still has too much support, one said. Then make it look like an accident, another replied. Media? France will handle it, said the foreigner. Traoré sat frozen. They're not planning a coup, he muttered. They already started it. Wemba pulled out a folder. 7 names, 2 in the palace. 1 in your kitchen, 4 in the press team. Traoré scanned the list, all familiar. Some had stood beside him for years. Why help me? He asked. Wemba looked up. Because you're the last one who hasn't sold us out. Dawn broke over Ouagadougou. Traoré made a call. Send the camera crew. Are you giving a speech? His aide asked. No, Traoré said. I'm declaring war. But this time, I'm doing it live. For the first time, the nation would see the battle from inside. They sat in silence. Wemba stared out the window. You knew this would happen, Traoré said. I knew they feared you. Wemba handed him a folded napkin, a child's drawing of a flag. My granddaughter drew it, he whispered. I told her I'd keep it safe. He smiled bitterly. I failed. I know you're feeling the tension rise. If this story speaks to you, if you're here because these stories matter, you can help. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. It fuels more untold stories. Thank you for standing with us. Now, let's get back to the fight. At 3:12 a.m., a palace cook received a message. Exit in 10. No mistakes. He moved quickly, but not faster than Wemba's eyes. By 3:20, he was in custody, caught with an earpiece and USB. You think I'm just a cook? No, Wemba replied. I think you were cheap. In the palace basement, Traoré noticed a dusty file. Stamped, WEMBA termination order. Inside, a signature from top brass. Unfit for foreign alignment. Too independent. Traoré's heart sank. They didn't retire you, he said softly. They erased you. Traoré stepped before the camera. He held Wemba's file high. This is how they treat patriots. They fire them. They silence them. They call them dangerous. He paused. But tonight, General Wemba saved this republic. If loyalty still matters to you, comment. We stand with Wemba. The broadcast was scheduled for 9 a.m. Wemba ordered 3 layers of backup. We have traitors in the comms team. Traoré raised an eyebrow. Then build a backup they don't know exists. Outside, a delivery van rolled past the gate. Inside were 2 men. One held a jammer. The other held a knife. Wemba led Traoré to a forgotten wing of the palace. Old war radios, dusty equipment, pre-digital, tamper-proof, he smiled. Sometimes you fight modern enemies with old weapons. Traoré nodded. We'll go live from here if we have to. Then the power flickered. Someone had just made their first move. Palace techs shouted as monitors went black. Main servers down. Security cameras offline. The comms chief swore. It's not just a glitch. They're wiping us. Traoré stared at the screen. Then we go old school. He grabbed the backup mic. Wemba, give me a signal. The general grinned. Yes, sir. 7 minutes later, the signal hit the emergency band. Radios crackled. TVs blinked. Phones lit up with one line. Presidential emergency transmission, stay tuned. The people didn't panic. They listened because something felt different. Something felt real. Traoré's voice cut through the static. My people, I was almost killed last night, not by terrorists, not by war, but by those in uniform, by those I trusted. Crowds gathered around TVs. Market radios turned up. Tonight, I show you what they tried to hide. And the screen went black. The screen blacked out just before footage played. Wemba slammed his fist down. They're jamming the signal. An aide ran in. Sir, we still have radio. Traoré grabbed the analog mic. No images this time, just the truth. He leaned in. Play the audio. Over every radio in the country, the room heard it. The foreign voice. If he doesn't die, the story collapses. A general replied, We'll blame rebels. France will approve. Then came silence. Traoré spoke. Now you know, not a theory, not a rumor. Their own voices. In the streets, gasps, fists clenched. People pulled out their phones. Hashtag truth in uniform. Hashtag Traoré speaks. Began trending within minutes. Journalists froze mid-script. Traoré's aide whispered, You've just lit a fire. Wemba replied. Now let's see who burns. A young officer arrived breathless. I want to testify, he said. They plan more than your death, sir. He handed Wemba a flash drive. Foreign agents, secret prisons. Even inside your cabinet, Traoré stared. Are you ready to say that on air? The boy nodded. With my name. Traoré turned back to the mic. You've heard their voices. Now you'll hear one of ours. A 24-year-old lieutenant began to speak. His words were clear, his fear invisible. If you believe truth still matters, comment. Let them speak. Because silence is their weapon, and stories are ours. Midway through the transmission, Wemba gave a silent nod. Guards moved. A communications officer was dragged from the control room. In his pocket, a burner phone, encrypted messages. All sent to Paris. Traoré didn't flinch. He simply said, Bring me the next one. A small TV station in the capital refused to air the broadcast. By morning, their building was on fire. No one took responsibility, but on social media, one message spread. Silence will not be safe anymore. For the first time, the streets weren't waiting for permission. They were moving. Traoré pushes fake conspiracy, said one French outlet. Dangerous populism, said another. Photos of the president were edited, darkened, but Africans abroad weren't buying it. In Marseille, Dakar, Brussels, posters of Wemba appeared on walls, the general they tried to erase. In the market square, a woman grabbed the mic from a street reporter. I have 4 sons, she said. They serve under the men who betrayed this country. Her voice cracked. We don't want revenge. We want names. The crowd roared. Traoré watched from the palace and nodded. That night, he returned to the camera. I hear you, he said. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., I will name them. No secrets, no shadows. He paused. They made this public. Now they face it publicly. If you're ready to hear the truth with no filters, comment. Name them all. Because truth hides in darkness. And we are turning on the light. By noon, every street had a screen. Markets, clinics, schools. People weren't talking. They were waiting. Even those who once mocked him stood still. At 6 p.m., the screen blinked once. And then he appeared. Traoré spoke slowly. These names are not rumors. They are proven. They are signed. He listed 12 officials, 3 generals, 2 advisors, 1 media director, and a member of his own security team. Then silence, no music. Just names and wait. Within hours, press releases flooded in. They forged my signature. I was following orders. This is political theater. But the people weren't fooled. Footage had faces, voices, dates. Truth had a body now, and it couldn't be buried. In Benin, Togo, Guinea, leaders began distancing themselves from old partners. CFA-Franc debates reignited. Traoré's story spread like fire, not just a scandal, a spark. Because if betrayal could happen at the top, then so could bravery. In every revolution, there is a point of no return. This was it. No more waiting, no more whispers. If you believe the people deserve to see what's been hidden, comment, no more secrets. And share this story, because silence protects power, but stories protect truth. In the capital, thousands gathered. Some marched. Others stood in silence. No violence, no fire. Just one chant, name them. Try them, free us. For once, the people didn't wait for orders. They gave them. Inside Army HQ, things got tense. Young officers refused deployment. We serve the nation, not traitors. One colonel slammed his badge down. Either we purge the top, or we bury the future. Lines weren't just drawn. They were crossed. Traoré received a call from Paris. Official. Cold. Step down quietly. Restore the old order, or sanctions will begin. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Instead, he looked at Wemba. Ready the national address. Across the region, something shifted. Markets slowed. Borders tensed. Foreign assets began pulling out. It wasn't just Burkina Faso anymore. It was a continent stirring. Wemba whispered. We lit the match, Traoré replied. Now we walk through the fire. At a military base near the northern border, a small unit broke ranks. They raised the old colonial flag. We don't follow rebels, their commander said, but locals surrounded them, unarmed, silent, unmoving, and the flag came down without a shot. At a university rally, a 19-year-old student grabbed a mic. My uncle was on that list. We still love him. But love doesn't stop truth. She looked at the camera. If you were lied to, and you stayed silent, you were part of it. From Paris, we condemn the manipulation of public emotion. We urge President Traoré to restore democratic norms. But in Ouagadougou, people laughed. For the first time, they weren't afraid of statements. They were the ones making them. Wemba stood on the palace roof. He raised a worn, faded flag. Burkina Faso's original independence banner. Tears in his eyes. We carried this into war once, he whispered. Now we carry it into truth. The cameras captured it all. Live! No bombs, no tanks. No generals shouting orders, just voices. Stories. And one leader who chose to speak when silence was safer. If you believe truth doesn't need a gun. Comment. Truth is resistance. Because not every revolution is loud. Some are broadcast in whispers. A week later, the trials began. No secret chambers. No closed doors. Everything streamed live. The accused sat in silence. Some in shame, others in rage. But the people didn't cheer. They just watched. Because this time, justice wasn't about revenge. It was about remembering. 3 cabinet members stepped down voluntarily. One handed over his badge on live TV. I didn't betray my country, he said. But I stayed silent while others did. And silence is no longer acceptable. That night, Traoré tweeted just one word. Respect. In the National Assembly, Traoré walked to the podium. Beside him, General Wemba. Years ago, they forced him out. Now we bring him back. Wemba was awarded the highest civilian honor. His voice shook. I didn't save the country. I just gave it back to the people. A young girl sent Traoré a letter. My father was one of the guilty men, but we still believe in you. Please don't hate us. He read it on air. No, I don't hate you. That's how they win. We fight hate with truth and love with leadership. With the final name exposed, the broadcast system returned to normal, but people still tuned in, hoping for one more message. Traoré gave them one. You didn't just watch a broadcast. You became part of it, and we're not done. This is just the beginning. A national vote was announced, new constitution, new transparency laws, no lifetime power. Even I will step down one day, Traoré said. That's leadership, not legacy. The people voted 92% in favor. Change was no longer a theory. Global analysts were stunned. Burkina Faso hadn't collapsed. It had restructured. No one expected this, said a Western host. No, replied his African guest. You just never listened. Wemba stood on the same roof where he raised the flag. He looked out at the city now alive, now aware. Time to rest, he said to Traoré. You've earned it, the president replied. No, Wemba smiled. You have. In a village school, a child was asked, What's a revolution? He stood up. It's when people stop being afraid. And who taught you that? My grandmother, he said. And a man on the radio. The class applauded, and the teacher wept. One voice can start a story. One truth can break a chain. One broadcast can save a nation. But it only lives if people remember it. If this story moved you, comment. We are the broadcast. Share it, because freedom is not just won, it must be witnessed.